Hi, everybody. It's Deanna with toolsofenergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert, where I teach empathic people how to take their power back, raise their vibrations, and cut the cords off from those who are draining them. Welcome tonight. I'm talking about the supermoon, blue moon, and lunar eclipse all coming up tomorrow night. It's going to be rather spectacular. And as you can imagine, in the energetic shifts that are going on, I'd like to talk about how to prepare for them or how to embrace the awesomeness of this energy. For most of my life, I would hear people talk about how the full moon made people crazy, or how they'd have more people on the operating, or in the OR, on those nights, or the police would have more phone calls, and was it real or was it not real, and all that. But what I have learned over time is that our planets shift in ways to help support us. They shift in ways to help us embrace energies and utilize them to lift us up, to make transformations and make changes. And it's not all negative like they make it out to be. So if you know anybody right now who could use this information, please share this with them really quickly on Facebook. I'm not sure how to tell you how to do that, but I know it can be done. And invite them over, or later perhaps just share it if you're watching the rebroadcast. But what's happening is that our planet, Earth, has a huge body of water on it. And as the moon cycles around it, the moon has a magnetic polarity, and it pulls the water around the planet in different frequencies, in different rises, if you will. And we have it kind of, if you look at the Earth, when the way the water pulls, it kind of looks like two eyeballs, where it's bigger on the top and the bottom. But what that tells us is that the moon has a very powerful magnetic pull on the planet, which was put in to a position, which was put in perfect divine order by God's Spirit or Source. So if you think about it, our universe is perfectly orchestrated to support our lives, to nurture our lives, and to nurture our growing. It is all God created, Spirit created, divine universal source created for us. And that's how that we have these things that we're talking about now. And some people believe in the Big Bang Theory. So, maybe God's Spirit or Source went poof. And that created the Big Bang. Not sure, haven't asked him about that yet. Anyway, what I do know is that in the pulling of those energies, in the pulling of that pervasiveness, that pull from the lunar is salt, water, and electric. That's what's in our ocean. It's water with salt. And there's electrical impulses that move in the currents. And guess what your body is? It's a great deal water, also has salt in it, and electrical impulses. Why do you think when somebody has a heart attack, the guys put those little paddles together and put it on the person and say clear, just to restart the heart, the electrical impulse of the body. So all those things work together. And the bottom line tonight is the blue moon, lunar eclipse, and the supermoon all coming together at the same time. If I remember correctly, this hasn't happened since like 1886 or something like that. You can look it up if you like, but it's been a while. And what this energy does, and the way that it pulls on the bodies of water, which includes our human clay pods, is it creates opportunity for change and uplift and support. And so one of the reasons I'm here is to teach you how to utilize these beautiful energies to make your life better, to lift your life up, to support you. So if you know anybody who has been like me in the past and has experienced people telling you that the moon makes people crazy, or they're lunatics, or blah, 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 I'd like for you to share this video with them right now. If you're on live, if you're watching it on a recording, share it with them and say, hey, you know what? The moon and the sun and the earth, they're all working together by divine order to create shifts within us that can be used to purge and clean house and be a beautiful, wonderful, loving thing. So that's one of my messages for this month going into February, is please use these beautiful energies to love yourself and not hurt yourself and not beat yourself up. That's what they're for. Okay, let's have a look and see what's going on. Big hug and kisses to everybody that's joined. Thank you so much. I couldn't do this without you. All right, so supermoon. Let's go and talk about some facts here really quick. We'll go from the science to the spirituality. Okay, so the moon's orbit sometimes comes a little bit closer in its cycle around the Earth. And when it comes a little bit closer and it's full, that's when you get this, I think it's called perigee, or sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, full moon. That's when you get this supermoon, because people think it looks a lot bigger, and it's actually closer in its orbic cycle. So what does that mean? That means that we have a higher base resonant frequency. What does that mean? I will go into more detail. However, I've been told by a lot of people that what I say they don't get, they don't understand, and that's okay. I've been studying this for a while. So I'm going to keep it at a very simplistic level. And if you want to get on the back door end of it, and you want to find out more science, and you want to know what's happening, please feel free to go to Tools of Energy Protection, click on Work With Me, and go down to Inner Circle. I get together once a week with everybody on the Inner Circle, and we talk about what's really there, what's happening, how it's shifting us, the science, the spirituality, the physics, the quantum physics, you know, as many different angles as I can possibly get in at one period of time. So that would be super if you could join us. Anyway, meantime, so what happens when here's the Earth and the moon is going around and the sun's going around? There's what's called a base harmonic resonant frequency. What does that mean? If you go to a piano and push a key and it makes a certain sound, that's a frequency. If you go to the lower vibrations, that's a low base frequency, and the higher is the high. And so as the planets are moving around, the frequencies change. And as the frequencies change, it has an effect on us. Because again, we're salt, water, and electric, right? Science. Physiology. So what happens is, as the energy pushes on us, as our water is moved within our bodies, and in the electric, it has a bearing on the heart and the emotions. And these emotions can support us in change if we let it. The only unfortunate part is a lot of us hold on to things and we won't let go for whatever reason. Stubbornness, we haven't learned our lessons, etc., etc. But if you think about it, if you have an issue right now in your life and you're holding on to it really, really tight, if you've ever seen the movies where two guys are fighting over a gun or knife and one guy grabs the other guy's hand and he starts banging it against the wall, hoping that this guy's hand will wear out and he'll turn loose of it. That's sometimes what these energies do. All right, moving right along very quickly. The next thing that's happening is when the full moon is in cycle here in its orbit, they call it a blue moon. Have you ever heard your grandparents say, oh, once in a blue moon? What does that mean? It means that you have two full moon cycles in a 31-day, basically, calendar. So just know that this is nice, but I don't think it's that great, because the moon cycles once every 29 days. It doesn't, irregardless of what a calendar on your wall says. We're currently under the Gregorian calendar, and that's what that looks like. So to me, it doesn't really have a bearing one way or the other. And of course, the lunar eclipse, that's what we want to pay attention to. That's what we're here tonight to talk about. So a lunar eclipse means here is our planet, and here is our sun, and here is the moon. And so what's going to happen is that we're going to step in between the two planets, and that sun will not shine onto the moon for a little bit. So that causes a hiccup in the amount of energy that the moon is sending out. It's a disruption in the energy field. If you can imagine sitting in your house and you're reading and you have your lamp on at night and all of a sudden the light flickers. Well, if it goes out for any period of time, that changes your ability to read or do whatever you were doing. Not a total disruption, but enough to kind of get your attention. So with this eclipse coming up, what's happening is the big frequency change in alignment with some other planets and their frequencies is a big look at relationships. That's the biggest thing right now, is looking at relationships. And I mean all of them across the board. Relationship with yourself, relationship with your job, relationship with your health, relationship with other people. Relationships are huge right now. So what's happening is these frequencies are asking us to look at all aspects. And so if you imagine yourself plugged into all these people in relationships or engaged in all of them, whatever they look like. And when that eclipse happens, that eclipse energy gives a hiccup or an unplugging of everything. And some of us feel like we're free falling, right? Well, then we try to plug back in. And we're finding that the outlet doesn't match anymore. So we're scrambling, trying to figure out why this relationship isn't working. How come it's angry, or how come we're not matching up, or how come it's not serving us, or how come this person blew up yesterday at work? What's wrong with them? How come, my relationship with my family, my blood family, really bites right now? There's a lot of that going on. And that it has to do with frequency and the shaking up. So instead of being angry about it or upset about it or hurt about it, allow yourself to really look at it and say, do I match up with that? Do I need to draw boundaries? Do I need to learn how to draw boundaries? That's what's happening. God's spirit or source is saying, hey, look, these things aren't good in your life. They're toxic. Take another look. Take a look at what's happening and then make a choice. So some of us will look at it and decide to keep going, even though the relationship is toxic or it may not be what we want. Others of us are looking at relationships going, wow, this is really good for me. Maybe I need to move forward in it and see what it feels like. But it's a shaking up. That's what's happening. It's not bad. It's actually good. Because wherever you have fire, there's regrowth after everything's burned. Right? Not asking you to go out and start any fires, by the way. But that's what's going on. So have a look at the integration of things that you love into your life and letting other things go for a little bit. Does it mean you have to terminate the relationships? No. Does it mean that you walk away for a little bit? Probably. Does it mean you learn how to initiate boundaries, especially if you're highly sensitive or empathic? Absolutely. Absolutely. Fix your heart on your love energy. Fix it on happiness. The other thing is the relationship aspect is coming up across all boards. So if you've been able to do things in your life and you kind of had them in a certain order and you're getting along and, you wash the dishes and you do the laundry and you go to work and you do this and you do that and everything seemed to have a nice little sequence to it and all of a sudden it's shaken up, there's a reason for that. Reevaluate, look before you plug back in. I noticed quite a few have been joining me. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have so many people join tonight. If you have joined and you have a question and you want to put it in the comments, I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. So any questions whatsoever, just pop them in there. Nothing off limits. Just keep it clean. Okay, it looks like one person has joined and they're going to get up early to check out the lunar eclipse. That's fabulous. I actually Googled it for myself to see what time it would be, and it's going to be about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not a morning person, so that'll be kind of interesting to get on. Hi to Tracy there, who's joined, and hi to Denise there, and Linda, Amy, and Stacy. Thank you for joining. But again, not to be laborious about it, but the eclipse energy right now is helping you to release things from your life that have been blocking you. It's clearing out your heart. Not to be silly, but it's like in your heart. If your heart had a nose and it went at you, it's spewing out the things that it no longer needs or wants, and the energies are supporting that. So put it back together. Take some time to meditate and really invite in the beautiful loving energies to uplift you as you make these transitions, as you make these changes. And coming up for the month of February, if you would like to buy an energy clearing for someone else, if you know they're having trouble and struggling and they could use a little uplift and help them if they're not getting stuff out fast enough, I will be offering gift certificates in the month of February. You can contact me and purchase one of those, and I'll send it right out to the love of your life or a loved one in your life if they need it. I just ask if you buy them a gift certificate that they have an idea what energy work is, how it works, and to be open to that. Also coming up, big announcement, I'm in Denver once a week at the bookstore, and the bookstore has opened up another part of their facility. So at a different location just down the street, I will be there on Wednesday. So now I'll be able to see twice as many people in Denver as normal, or if you are watching this from long distance, it is possible to do a FaceTime or a Skype while I'm there. So anyways, those are the announcements of things coming up. I am super excited that you've all joining me. It looks like Raj has just joined me. Hello to him. I will be closing up here just a minute, and I will push the replay button so you can come on back and join again. Right now, the big energy is for empathic people that absorb other people's energies to learn how to shield themselves, how to integrate the energies around them and really rise up. The boss, God, Spirit, or Source, has told me we need a lot of white blood cells and to rise the vibrational frequency of the planet. So if you'd like to learn how to do that, I do have a spiritual one-level class available on toolsofenergyprotection.com, and you can go there to meet up with me and take that class. I'm just upgrading that class. It's only been out for a few months. I'm already upgrading it, and I'm going to have a Facebook page integrated to that special class so you can get on and be a part of our group. And hello, Trudy. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be in Denver more than once a week, too. It's going to be pretty exciting to be there 2 days a week. Any other questions about the blue moon, the lunar eclipse, or the supermoon? It's the frequency is higher, the flesh is higher, energies are welling up within inside of us that we haven't really dealt with in a long time or dealt with before. A lot of inner child work is coming up. We're looking at things that have been in our childhood or our past that haven't honored us, and learning to look at them, flush those out, get rid of them, and heal ourselves. And it's a good time. So please do, if you haven't already, on this page, if you're on Facebook, click like and follow. That way when I do a broadcast, it'll pop up on your cell phone and tell you that I'm live. Then if you're on YouTube, go ahead and click follow. You'll get notifications. If you're on the toolsofenergyprotection.com blog, you can click follow at the top of the page. WordPress and get this as well. But I'm asking, I've been giving in this business for years. I've been doing this for 11 years. I looked at my records the other day, and I've seen like 6,543 people one-to-one over those years, and it's time to make that number bigger. It's time to bring this message to the world that these beautiful energies that we swim in every day can be used to heal and balance and harmonize our lives and to move forward and live joyous, abundant lives. That's what God, Spirit, Source tells us. He wants us to live beautiful, divine, abundant lives. And so if your life is not abundant, if your life is not happy right now, my question is why? What are you not doing? What are you not letting go of so you could be happy? You know, what are you holding on to? What's the anger? What's the fear? What's the frustration? What's the doubt that's holding you back? Because I'm going to tell you, it's not God, Spirit, or Source that's holding you back. It's right here. It's in your head. This is the message I'm hearing right now from my guides. So also, if you've been on some of these transmissions or you go back and watch previous videos, you might watch my screen pixelate and then come back. Just know that when I get really super excited or my guides come in, they cause a disturbance in the energy field. I actually hardwired my laptop tonight so that I wasn't Wi-Fi, because if I Wi-Fi, it gets disturbed a lot more than if I'm hardwired in. But anyways, the message is that every one of you watching tonight is a divine aspect of the Creator Source of all. Do you get that? Do you understand that a huge creator that created the universe, that created places that NASA can't even see in their telescopes or their Hubble scopes, that being that created all of that loves you? This one person among billions on the planet. You're loved. So what makes you think that you can have doubt and fear and struggle and not be able to make ends meet and feel unloved? It's not what the design plan was. That comes from fear-mongering. That comes from people that desire to control you. And it's time to free yourself from all that. If you're in a country, I noticed somebody joined us lovingly that may not have different things that different places in the world have different liberties. But the freedom is here. And the power is here. So if you can be free in here and have the power to control yourself here, you are truly free. So I'm being moved to read you something that I carry with me every day. Let me grab it. I don't necessarily read it every day. Obviously don't have it memorized. But I'd like to read you a little bit of this because it's so important. There's two frequencies, love and fear. And I didn't intend to stay on this long, but when the boss and your guides tell you to get a message out, you just go for it. So I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say this again. In this universe that we live in, there are two poles of energy that dominate the entire universe. One is love and one is fear. And my job is to help people move into the love frequency and not the fear. That's one of the jobs I was given on this planet. Okay? It's really plain and simple when you look at it this way. But when you walk that everyday life, sometimes we bounce back and forth and it exhausts us. If you're having fatigue right now, a lot of my clients say they're so exhausted. That's one of the reasons why. Choose to live in the light. Let go of what you can. Work on yourself. And people say to me, oh, but Deanna, my husband or my wife, they don't love me. They don't spend time with me. They just want to argue with me. Well, learn to love yourself. Learn to draw boundaries. Learn to be in a safe place. It's not always easy. Been there, done that. I know. Sometimes our family members, the ones that we're related to by genetics, they can cause us a lot of trials and tribulations. So God's Spirit Source said He loved us, but He didn't promise us that we wouldn't go through trials or tribulations. The biggest trial that I can think of at the moment that I am glad that I did not participate in, it were three brothers named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And if you haven't read their story, even if you're not a Bible person, go read it. Look it up on the internet. But basically, these three guys said that they wouldn't do something that their government commanded them to do. They believed in their relationship with the divine more than that, and they had the self-esteem, the self-worth, and the self-value not to crumble under severe peer pressure. And what happened? They were put into a fiery furnace. I can't imagine, nor do I desire to, the horror of being pushed into a furnace. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been around fire, but you touch something that's hot, it really hurts. Or if you're around a campfire, sometimes you singe the hairs on your arm and you don't even think about it. And these three guys were pushed into that furnace. And the amount of faith that it took to allow yourself to be pushed, I mean, it doesn't say whether they fought or not, but that emotional security with their creator. And when the guy who did it looked in there to make sure they were burned to a crisp and just ash, what did he see? He saw three men walking in the middle of that flame and a fourth one, which is, some people say it was God, some people say it was Jesus, but it was a light being. And that light being was changing the frequency of those men so that not even a hair of them was burned. And they came out unscathed, physically. Emotionally, it doesn't really say, but I can imagine. So where are you today? What fire are you walking through? And if I looked in your fire, would I see you walking with a divine being, your guidance, the angels, God, Spirit or Source who loves you? Is that what I would see? Or would I see you being burned up alive in there? It's up to you. Much easier when you open your heart to God's Spirit or Source. And you understand that this divine creation is all to uplift you and help you heal on your journey, not to hurt you. All right. One thing that I'd like you to consider is that you are loved, each and every one of you. You are vitally important to the Creator Source of all who loves you every day. All you got to do is tune in. But I'd like for you to think about this. You are worth celebrating. You are worth everything. You are unique. There's only one you in this entire world. Really think about that. Nobody could take your place. There's no one person with your talents, your gifts, or your experiences. You have the immense potential to love, care, grow, sacrifice, and believe in yourself. I carry that with me every day because it's true. So, believe in yourself. Know that you're loved. Talk to the divine source and claim your promises. We're told in the canonized version of the Bible to claim your promises. So my question to you is, what promise haven't you claimed? Have you not claimed peace in your life? You might have peace in your heart and everybody around you, but at least you're peaceful. But when you become peaceful, you begin to see the dramas more. You begin to see the lessons more. You begin to move through things more easy and effortless. And so since so many lovely people have joined us here towards the end, I will repeat what my message was, which says on supermoon, blue moon, lunar eclipse, and how to embrace the awesomeness. So what you have is a planet that has electromagnetic frequency. And as this moon comes closer into its space, so here's our Earth, and as the moon comes a little bit closer in its orbit than it normally does, that's the supermoon, because we look at it on the horizon, it looks super big, right? Supermoon. So that's going to change the frequencies of this planet, and it changes what affects our bodies and how our hearts move, which affects our spirit self. Okay, it's going to affect how we feel, how we move, what we experience. Blue moon simply means that there's 2 full moons in a calendar month. Again, myself, I don't really feel that's big of a deal because the cycle is once every 29 days. And right now the Gregorian calendar goes poop right over those cycles, so it blows the moon cycles off a little bit according to that calendar. So it doesn't bother me one way or the other, but that's why they call it a blue moon. And then, of course, the lunar eclipse is where our Earth will pass between the sun and the moon. The moon reflects the energy of the sun. There's a frequency there. And you, as a human being, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our frequency is about 8 megahertz, I believe, or maybe it's just hertz. Sorry, I don't remember at the moment. And then the moon has a different frequency than the sun. And so the divine order is to keep that changing, keep that environment changing so that we will move along in our path and our growth according to divine order. And so if we know when those energy shifts are and we prepare for them and we position ourselves in the right spot, we can move through things more easily and effortlessly. And I'm so excited about that. For a couple of years, I always felt like I was behind the 8 ball and everything was happening to me. I felt like I was in that, when you have an ocean wave, you know, and the guys go out and surf, if they don't make the wave, they go underneath like this, and even if they blow bubbles, they can't tell which way is up. That's how I used to feel with the energy shifts. But now I know when they're coming. Now I know what they're supporting, and I could put myself in a position of that and not feel so nuts and not feel so crazy. In fact, on my website, toolsofenergyprotection.com, I put out a blog that kind of gives you a heads up on what you should feel and can kind of gauge yourself against that. So In wisdom, if you need help, make sure that you get it. So we have a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and energy body. And sometimes we need to take care of the physical body and the spirit body, and sometimes the mental, emotional body, and sometimes we need to seek help to get some counseling. So just make sure that you're attending to all of those things in your world and not just one thing. Anyways, if there's any questions, could you please put them in the feed now so that I can answer those?
Which one?
And let me see if there's any questions. Okay. If you can't tell by now, my daughter's actually in here with me in the office when I'm recording, and she's trying to plug herself in over there with her laptop.